Hello, people who somehow found this video. First of all, I would just like to thank you for giving my video a chance. I'm still figuring out what sort of content I want to put out for this channel. It will be mainly GW2 stuff, because that's my main MMO, but I'll talk about other games as well, depending on what I feel like doing, because this is really just a hobby for me. So as you see by the title, this video is going to talk about the combat system in MMOs. Be wary that these are just my opinions and I just want to share my thoughts. And also I'm biased to Guild Wars 2 because it's my main MMO, of course. Also, I may be quite straightforward and critical at times, so if you're a snowflake, be warned. So, why do I compare the combat system in Guild Wars 2 and ESO? The answer is pretty simple actually. First of all, I don't play that many MMOs. I played a bit of RuneScape before, I played a bit of Vindictus before, but they are generally quite different in their combat style. So in case you don't know, Guild Wars 2 and ESO both have this style of combat that's a mix of action combat and tab targeting, some sort of hybrid combat system. They both have dodging mechanics, they both can jump, which is a big deal in my opinion. In Guild Wars 2 you can even jump dodge, which basically extends your dodging time and distance when they are performed together. Not sure about ESO though. So for this hybrid combat system, it basically means that you have your OG tab targeting system where you get a set of skills on a tab for you to use, but you also have to aim with some of the skills and some of the attacks as well, which resembles an action combat style like you'll see in maybe like Black Desert Online or Vindictus if you guys are a fan of those games. I honestly believe that this is the way to go forward for MMOs in the future, as you'll feel more engaged and more flexible with the action combat component where you have to aim and land your attacks properly, while it gives you that tab targeting OG feel which a lot of people crave for in MMOs. For tab targeting, it's also worth mentioning that it adds a lot of complexity to the game. You know, like you have to use these skills first, then only use that skill to maximize DPS, save this skill if your health falls too low, save that skill for CC and so on. So like it has its pros and cons for both types, for both styles. So let's talk about ESO for a bit. So ESO I started only around 4 months ago. I only have around 200 hours into the game. It's honestly not enough for me to discover the game fully. Also my fault because up until now I've just been doing the story content, and the content inside ESO is crazy. It feels like it's never ending, and I'll talk about that in another video. So before buying the game, I've obviously read most of the reviews and stuff, so I already know what I'm getting into. And almost every single review says that the combat is bad. And the best review I've heard about the combat, and it was quote unquote, "I don't hate the combat." So when I bought the game, I was like, it can't be that bad, right? And I was right. It's okay, honestly, but at the same time it actually made me appreciate Guild Wars 2 combat a lot more. So I started ESO with a mage, and I was really excited at the fact that every class can use every weapon, which sounded really cool. So of course the first weapon I picked was a great sword, even though I'm using a mage. And when they were teaching the tutorial, when they were teaching about heavy attacks, oh my gosh, it was horrendous. The normal attack was clunky enough, but the heavy ones looks slow, clunky, and looks stupid ultimately. Then I realized I need to slowly unlock skills for my great sword, or basically two-handed weapons in general, because every single two-handed weapons will have the same set of skills, which is quite a bummer for me, because like I'm so used to GW2 style of combat. Like every single weapon will offer a new set of skills, so I was quite bummed out, you could say, but never mind that, I just went with it. So after using the great sword for a while, I've realized that I can't stand it anymore. At one point I was like, if I'm gonna have to do this for the rest of the game, I'm gonna quit real soon. So I try to explore like different weapons, and I try to go like sword and shield, and like basically like one-handed weapon with an offhand, and it was not the best as well. So at that point I felt like what people said is actually starting to make sense, being that the combat was bad. Then I found this weapon called the Destruction Staff. It was an Inferno Staff, which basically shoots fireballs, and I was like, yeah, I could get used to this. And its heavy attack actually looks great, like shooting two fireballs, and like the charging animation and like shooting animation, everything was like quite smooth. And the skills it offers, like the wall of elements, feels good to use as well, because it creates like an AoE of damage. And like after the Inferno Staff, I realized that there's a lightning version of it called the Lightning Staff, and which changes all your skills, like your wall of elements to become like a lightning field, and it has its own like buffs as well, and as well as like Ice Staff, which creates like an ice field. It's really cool that these like skills can change based on which element of the staff, which like I find it super cool honestly. And they all have a different heavy attack as well, compared like the Lightning Staff has a different heavy attack compared to Fire Staff, which was like quite enjoyable. And like I really enjoy equipping like all the lightning AoE skills, and like embody myself with like electric, which is like super fun. But that's the problem, because that's the only build that I can actually like continue to play, that actually won't make me sick of the combat. It's again really like different in GW2, because in GW2 we have this class called the Elementalist, which is essentially your mage, but it's somewhat more like the the avatar, which can bend all four elements, and like we get different skills based on which element we're in, and like different elemental skills, as well as like different weapon skills. So if we swap to different weapons, we get a whole new set of skills for every single element that we have, basically like water, basically fire, water, lightning, and earth. Like I could use a staff, and I could like shoot fireballs, and as well as like cast other skills like a fire, meteor, and stuff like that. Or I could use a dagger, and I can shoot like lines, like vertical 3 lines of fire, as well as like breathe fire and dash forward with fire and stuff like that. And yeah, you don't see that variety of skills in ESO, so like so that's the reason why I only stick to like one build in ESO, which is the lightning build, which I told you about, because it's the only build that I found fun. Note that I am not talking about endgame here, I'm just talking about generally how the skills make me feel and do I enjoy playing them. Actually, at this point of the video, I don't even know what's really the point of making this video. It feels like I'm just ranting. Sorry if I offended anyone or any ESO fans. Remember that this is just my opinion and how I feel about the ESO combat. I'm sure that there are a lot of people who enjoys the combat very much. Um, and like everyone has their own opinions, and mine is just really skewed to yours too, because again, I'm totally biased. But I mean, I don't know if the ESO devs will ever change their combat. I don't think they need to at this point, because I believe the fandom is already used to it. But maybe in the future, if there are new MMOs being made, I think they should really consider like this hybrid of combat style system, and they really should take a lot of inspiration from the GW2 style of combat, because I still feel that GW2 is superior in their combat system for like this type. So thank you for listening to my rant. Hopefully I didn't bore anyone out. Hopefully I didn't get anyone triggered. If you're really triggered, leave a comment below and tell me why you're triggered. Obviously, because like I want to get to know everyone's perspective. Getting to know everyone's perspective really like help me learn and grow. And maybe leave a dislike button, because the more the dislike, the more likely I get people to see my video anyways. Okay, bye bye.